Hi everyone. So in this video I'm going to talk about how you can easily set up your reference planes here in Maya, and I'll also talk about how you can easily animate the material of your model to be able to see through it and see directly through down to the reference image. So let's go ahead and get started. So the way I like to work is I like to apply my reference images directly to a plane. I think that gives you a little bit more control over attaching it to an image plane that's attached to your camera. So the way I start with this is I'm just going to create a plane, but I'm going to use the actual dimensions of the image itself to determine how big this plane is going to be. So go over here, and I'm going to end up using this image here. And so as we probably all know, if you just hover your mouse over the image, you'll get the dimensions right here. But what you can also do is if you're in list mode here, you can just right click anywhere in the top, and you'll either have dimensions listed here, or you can go to more and just find dimensions, and it'll actually list the dimensions of each image in the file. So these are going to be the numbers I'm going to use here, 721 by 470. Alright, so over here for my attributes, I'm going to change the subdivisions to 1 in both directions. So this was 721 by 470. Alright, so as you can see, the reference image, or the plane right now, is huge in comparison to the ground plane, but I'm not going to worry about that because we can actually use some variation of these numbers and still get the same dimensions of a plane and not affect the reference image at all. You also need to change this create UVs aspect, but I'll skip that so you can see what it looks like when do it. Alright, so I'm just going to apply a Lambert to this. We're going to use this image here, and so as you can see, the image is stretched on the plane, and that is where this create UVs comes into play. So all you have to do is click on where it says normalize, just turn normalization off, and then the stretching will go away and you'll have a reference image that you can use. Alright, so as I was saying before, you can use some variation of the numbers for the image and still get this the same result. So I'll create a new plane, and so what I'll do, as opposed to using the original numbers, which were 721 by 470, I can just use half of these numbers. So it's going to end up being 360.5 and 235. Right, so if I just apply the same material to it, we'll just go back through the process. So you can see that in terms of dimensions, the sizes are the same, and your model will end up being the same size. This one will just be much larger than this one. All right. So I'll just use this version here because I usually like to keep things a little bit smaller as I work. So I like to apply this to a layer. So I'm just going to click on this icon here to apply to a layer. Right, so what we can do, we can name this layer whatever we want. I'm just going to call this underscore reference, since I already have a reference layer here. And if I click on this icon twice, this will then turn this layer into a reference layer, so I can't accidentally grab it and move it while I'm working, which can throw off your model completely. So another issue you'll notice is that as I rotate around it, I can't see through the back of this plane, right? Because over here, I can easily see through the plane and see my model as I rotate around it. And this allows me to make sure that all of my shapes are working correctly and I have them, all the sizes are done accurately. So that's really just a matter of turning on backface culling for this plane. So I'm just going to select the plane here, go to display, polygons, backface culling, and now I can see through the back of the plane as I'm working. So say for instance, this cube is going to be my starting point for my model. Right, so now I can just rotate around the cube and see it from all directions without the plane getting in the way.